What are you measuring enough by? Because someone, let's say your worst enemy, does not want you to challenge the state. So when it comes to this question, you're not doing enough and time is running out, there is this internal void in you and this level of self-awareness that many don't have, but you have this self-awareness. And it's this self-awareness that it's coming into recognition that there's more to life than what is presented to you. And you know that there is more to life and there's more in what you can do and what you can bring into this world and how you can impact and how you make a difference and how you're different and how you're unique. There's more to life. And so this question comes about on there's something not being done and there's something not being fulfilled. So there's this internal void. And not many have this self-awareness. You know, many go through life actually drifting and being consumers. But the thing that they don't realize is that they have this great potential that resides in them, that they're just letting it go to waste. But you have an altitude of an awareness that you have potential. You realize that there's this potential and probably that potential is not being used, which is what's driving you to the reason I'm not doing enough. And I want you to start to, like, once you challenge this statement on the you're not doing enough, I want you to redirect it to there's a part of you that wants fulfillment. And that comes from that internal void. And the fact that you're able to challenge it is only in the right direction. Because in difference to those who are just drifting and consuming life and knowing that they have, well, not knowing, there is potential within them and they don't know that there's potential, but you know there's potential in you. Something's already like lights, like signal lights are already flashing at you that there's this potential and probably you want to dive deep into that potential. And this statement about you're not doing enough is actually just a symptom. It's not the real problem. The symptom, it's a flashing indicator because you have this level of awareness and you say there's something that needs to be fulfilled in my life, and you're thinking that it has to be you doing enough. You believe that you have to physically do. That's why you think time is not enough, because whatever the measure, the standard you're creating in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I have to do enough. I have to be enough. And it's these external factors that you're believing, if I just do them, okay, then what are those external factors? If you really truly believe you're not doing enough, remember, everyone is in their own season of life. Everyone has a different life. And in that sense, there's a sense of comparison. And we'll get to that later in the video. But if you're thinking that you're not doing enough, okay, then tell me what is it that you're measuring the not enough? What are you measuring it? Because it's a measure, it's a standard. If you tell me what the standard is, validate how credible is this standard. And then 2, what does it look like to do enough? What would that look like if you actually had the time? Because here we're saying we don't have this and all you're thinking on what you don't have. So it's like, okay, if you had the time, truly actually think, will that line up on the maybe doing enough? Will that actually achieve this correlation of I'm doing enough? Because you have to understand what is the standard or the measure in which you're measuring the I'm not doing enough. And 2, what would that look like? Can you answer these 2 questions? And by answering these 2 questions, challenge it and validate it. How much is it? Because oftentimes, let me tell you, the majority of you don't have the answer to the standard in which you're measuring it. Why? Because I did not have the standard. I did not know the answer to the question I'm asking you guys. And that's weird. Why? Because you're not doing enough. It's coming with a negative voice. And it's recognizing that it's coming with a negative voice. Because as I said earlier in the video, it's not bringing you contentment. It's bringing you condemnation. Like, it's bringing you like worse positive feelings about your life, and it's questioning things in which you don't even know how to approach. So it's like the question, are you not doing it? You're not doing enough. It's not bringing you that. So it's like we can switch this around instead of feeling like, what do I do because time's not enough? What do I do? Well, what if I tell you that it's actually you, and it's not, and you have enough time because you're in a different season than everyone else. And you actually do have enough time to do everything. You're just not prioritizing the right thing. So looking at this statement on you're not doing enough, there's more that comes into the statement. And when we're challenging the statement and we're breaking down the statement and looking things that are behind this statement, what's supporting this statement or what's being the drive. It's like the drive to the statement of you feeling like there's not enough time is your reaction is I have to do and I have to complete and I have to do. I have to do. And that's where the issue starts, is that your brain is thinking and it's believing, I have to do this. And let me tell you, and I know that some of you guys have heard of this, your brain has the fight or flight response. This fight or flight response comes about, well, your brain is in survival mode. When you're telling yourself you have to do it, think about it. Your brain is actually fighting. It's in survival mode. So there's stress and you're not relaxed. You're not at peace. Your creative side is diminished because you feel the pressure and you feel the need that if I complete this, then I will survive. Then my head will be above the water and everything's going to be okay. But everything's not okay because you don't have the time. But if I'm telling you, you do have the time, so your brain is in this survival mode. This fight or flight survival. And then in that fight or flight survival mode, then comes worry. And so I wanted to mention this like fun fact. I don't know, many of you guys, if you guys have ever seen a wild documentary, especially when it comes to a lion hunting a prey, which is kind of similar. This fun fact is that you feel like you don't have enough, but did you know that humans are the only ones that are able to worry and able to think ahead? But in this analogy with like worrying comes into play, and worry is like a jeopardy. When a lion is hunting a prey, what you see here is that if the lion is not quiet enough, the prey will actually be alert and see that someone is trying to catch it or him or her, right? And so what happens is that when the lion misses, right, or when the lion was too loud and was not able to catch the prey, you either go to both like, you're just like a bit sad, right? It's like, oh, you didn't catch the prey, or you're a bit rooting for the other guy, right? Like, oh, he got away. The point being is that when he missed the shot, you don't see that the lion is going to go off and worry. What the point is that I'm trying to do is that you're telling your brain that you have to worry. And what I'm bringing this analogy up with lion in the wild documentary is that animals don't worry the way humans worry. And sometimes that is used against you. Sometimes the capacity to even worry for the future can be used against you. What ends up happening is that when you're always telling your brain that you have to do these things, emotions come into play. Meaning, when you tell yourself that you have to do it, sometimes excitement is not there. Sometimes the motivation is not there. Sometimes the desire to do is not there. Because you have to do it. What other option is there? And so the pressure to complete it's actually an indicator of letting you know that your brain is in a fight mode. And so when your brain is in this fight or flight mode, what your brain is saying is that there's a scarcity and I have to survive. Did you know that when, let's say all of your organs are shutting down, the brain is going to do everything in its power to save itself? If any of organs, if you thought it was the heart, wrong again. If you thought it was lung, wrong. It's the brain. The brain is going to do everything in its capacity to survive. So when you're telling yourself you're not doing enough, and the you're not doing enough is coming about the pressure to do, I have to do this, and I have to complete this, your brain is not in a creative mode. Your brain is in this fight and survival mode. Because if it's telling you, if I don't do this, something's going to happen. How on earth are you going to be in this flight mode? How on earth are you going to feel like there's enough time when your brain is hardwiring itself? There's not enough time. I have to do this. So what do we do? And you're worried about it. And so it's like, that does not help. And so then there's the statement of the pressure to complete comes about. And then now you're thinking, I'm not doing enough. What is enough? What is enough, and what are you measuring enough by? Think about that. Because someone who does not want you to thrive, someone who does not want the best for you, does not want you to realize this statement or this question, well, what is enough? What are you measuring it by? And does that validate? Is that a credible measure in which you're measuring you are not enough, you're not doing enough? Let me tell you this. When you keep thinking there's not enough time, you're perceiving it wrong, and you're prioritizing the wrong things in your life. And perhaps in that, you're also distracted. There's enough time. Because when you start to tell yourself there is enough time, you will start to realize what are the most important things in my life and what are the things that I need to focus on, whether if it's from the beginning of the day, what are the things that I need to, on the productive day, the productive hour in which your brain is able to have this charge, what is important now? And less important is at the bottom of the list. It's setting and rewiring and having this mind shift that there's enough time. And it's not saying you're not doing enough, because you're not doing enough is actually getting you nowhere. It's actually just convicting you, and it's actually making you feel worse, and it's actually putting into question your belief, and it's putting into question who you are. It's questioning your identity. It's not doing much for you. So it's really challenging the statement you're not doing enough. But what if you are doing enough? I spoke in my other videos where I said, what if was in favor to you? So oftentimes the what if statements are often associated with something negative. So what if I'm telling you the what if was in favor for you? What if it is enough? Let's say it is enough. Because it all starts on how you're thinking things. It all starts how you're perceiving things. You are the one to have said, time is running out. What do I do? I'm this age. What do I do? I don't know what to do. You control only what's in your control and what you can change. And look at the things that you can do and hit those things at the mark. And also it's coming to this realization, as I said, about self-awareness, is that you have this self-awareness in you, that there's more to you and there's potential to you, and it's finding what do you want to do in life. Whatever age that you're at whatever stage in life that you are, then that feeling of you're not doing enough comes from this internal void that there's more potential, there's potential in you, and that potential is not hitting it, it's not hitting the target. So something is being voided and it's lacking. It's props to you because you are challenging that and you're in the right direction, but it's saying, okay, what do you want? You're trying to make a dent, an impact in this world. When you start to put these questions in retrospect, like, what do I want? So now it suddenly does not become when you're not doing enough. Maybe it's like, focus on what do I want? Focus on what can I do to fulfill this? Being grateful. As I was telling you that you're not doing enough comes from the pressure to complete. But what if I told you get to do things? What if I told you you get to? Like in the same way I told you that you do have enough time, well, you get to do things. And you start to rewire your brain in a way, or you start to talk to yourself in a way of grateful actually plays a big part in your life. Being grateful. How grateful are you in life? Of also dealing with this statement of I'm not doing enough and I'm not doing enough, because I've been in that season and I've been in that where it's like, I'm not doing enough. What am I measuring it by? And it's like, no, I get to do these things. You get to. You don't have the control to tell yourself, all right, body, wake up tomorrow. All right, lungs, breathe. It's automatic. It's given to you. It's a gift. And so the rest of the things that you feel like you need to complete, no, you get to complete. You get to do these things. What do you get to wake up. You get to see with your eyes. You get to hear. You get to move your body. You get to breathe. You get to watch. You get to see. You get to is a big difference than you have to. And that shifts your mind from this, oh my God, I have to, it's survival mode, I don't know what to do, to this, oh, I get to. And you see how there's this calmness and there's no peace. There's no peace if you're saying you're not doing enough. There's no peace. And I can't continue in this video and tell you all these aspects of the statement of you're not doing enough without mentioning your creator, because your creator plays a big part. Whatever you believe, and I hope you would believe in Jesus Christ, because the reason there's a goodness, a greater goodness, and I mentioned this and I will continue to mention this, there's a greater goodness in which you get to, the things that were given to you. You get to do those things, and it's also recognizing who you are in your creator. And how your creator sought you in his image. So you get to do those things, and that's being grateful. And when you start to recognize on the being grateful, you also start to have this habit of be graceful. Graceful with others or graceful with yourself. Because suddenly now it's like, okay, if I don't complete this, you fall short or you fail. Think of it like this. When a child begins to walk for the first time in their lives, they are going to start to walk, and they will fall. And they will probably hurt themselves. Hopefully not, but life, they will start to walk. And they're not going to start to walk in their first steps. No, they're going to wobble and they're going to fall and they're going to probably lean on their shoulders or hit their heads or whatever. Hopefully not. What a way to describe a child's first time walking. But it's like when a child walks, they're not going to say, oh, I failed at walking. I had to walk. I had to walk and now I can't walk. There's not enough walking. There's not enough legs. I don't have enough legs to walk. No, it gets up again and again until it starts to learn it can walk. It gets to walk. It gets to walk. He or she gets, for the sake of this, it gets to walk. He or she gets to walk because it's given that capability it gets to. And it's discovering that's like, oh wow, there's this potential to me that I didn't know. And yeah, and probably the influence of this child came about from its surroundings. And your surroundings play into a part into this, right? And so it's really understanding that when you're grateful, you're also graceful. And so in your life, when you fail and when you don't hit the mark on your small wins, when you don't hit the mark on what you want, you realize you can be graceful. Why? Because you're learning. You're going to get better. You're not going to get better at the first try. The fact that you're aware now, okay, you're learning. And it takes time because some say a habit's developed in 90 days. So it's like if you fail, do it again. You got the chance to do it again, do it again. You get to do it again, do it again, do it again. you do have enough time. And in the aspect of you're not doing enough, also realize that there's this underlying, it's ever so small, no one tells you this, or you don't realize it, but there is this underlying where you do have comparison coming into play. There is a comparison. Everyone has their own season. Everyone is in their own different season. Everyone has a different life experience, a different perspective. Everyone is different, but there is this one little, in the you're not doing enough, there's this seed of comparison. And also to the measure in which you're, whatever standard you're measuring up to. So recognize that. Recognize, people have talked about like, don't compare yourself, guys. And it's these superficial examples on like, don't compare yourself to people on social media, and your life is, yes, it's these physical external factors, but oftentimes comparison can go deep. It can actually go deep without you even knowing it. And so the statement of you're not doing enough, what are you comparing yourself to? Who are you comparing yourself to? That's making you, and it comes to that standard. And is that standard credible? No, it's not credible. Okay, so then suddenly now the question you're not doing enough, it becomes, it's invalidated. It's no longer worth, it's like you're not giving power to that statement no longer. You're not compiling the evidence to that statement no longer. Because it's like, well, because you challenged it and you realize, wow, yeah, I was actually comparing myself. Or two, wow, I don't know what I was comparing it to. It's like, then why are you saying you're not doing enough? If you don't even know the answer to you saying you're not doing enough, then why are you saying you're not doing enough? Then what if it's like, okay, maybe I have to prioritize on certain things that I actually mean, things in which I know I'm good at, things that actually bring fulfillment to my life. So understanding that the statement you're not doing enough is also coming from a scarcity mindset, saying that you don't have enough time. You have enough time. There's enough time. And also it's this mindset and this mind shift that you're having about yourself and what you're measuring up against. And also realizing what are the things that fulfill you? What are the things that you are good at? So oftentimes that the schooling system fails people. It fails to recognize the schooling system and social structures lets you just think if you suck at one thing, then what you have to do is magnify the thing that you suck. But it's actually realizing what is that one thing that you are just so good at, and you can get so good at it that like everyone else, like they're just like, they can't help but respect it. They won't help but like respect it, and won't help even you, because you're getting so good at it. And that gift that was given to you, it's hardwired into you. What is that one thing that you're so good at? And it brings that fulfillment, and you realize how is that this thing that in which I'm so good at brings value to others. And there that comes that fulfillment. And there that invalidates this internal void. So it's recognizing that you have this potential and you have this power to you, but it's really challenging the statement you're not doing enough. What are you measuring it by? Realize what is the state in which your mind is in. Is it coming from a scarcity mindset or an abundant mindset? And typically when your brain is in this scarcity mindset, your brain is also coming about fear. And fear comes in, fear creeps in. It's almost like a vineyard. But it's like when you recognize that your brain is in this state, how are we shifting it to this abundant mindset? And how can we apply that to our lives? So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next one. Double dab and bye.